for Democracies, talking about what's playing out on a global stage with this North Korean bombing of South Korea. Dr. Phares, I'll tell you, people are tweeting and emailing and Facebook posting, if you will. They say you've nailed it. You've nailed it in terms of North Korea testing the U.S. And being watched by the international community. So people are in agreement. What struck me today is I read where one high-ranking administration official, I forget who it was, and I can't even remember if it was anonymous or not, said that this is an urgent matter, and we're going to call an emergency meeting, and it'll take a day or two to put together. I was shocked to hear it say it'll take a day or two to put together. Is our lack of immediate strong response sending that must be sending a message to Iran, I would imagine?
Well, let's begin from the beginning of the equation. Initially, when, remember, there were 3-4 decisions to be made about the Middle East, including, for example, the most important example, when the Iranian people rose in June of 2009 against the regime. This was an opportunity, from history, from God, from I don't know what. You had 2 million people demonstrating. Many officers from the Basij and the Pasdaran were just quitting and leaving. Some clerics were even siding with the opposition. What was our reaction? That was the mother of all reactions that taught many people in the region and beyond, and that would be now North Korea, that we want to engage those regimes. We are not going to do anything about it, and it would have been only by saying few words.
The mother of all reactions. That makes.
Yeah, we said we don't want to meddle. This is an internal issue. Yes, that was not what Reagan said when we had the labor unions of Poland, Lech Walesa, rising, and the dissidents, and even when there was this coup, the KGB coup in 1991, the Moscow coup that dislodged Gorbachev. What did we do? We actually said we will stand by the legitimate, people of Russia and what have you. Now, since that moment, we've seen across the board Hezbollah taken over further in Lebanon. We've seen Al-Qaeda rising further in Yemen. And we've seen in Sudan. We were supposed to be helping Darfur, right? I'm widening a little bit so that we understand what's happening worldwide. There is a sort of a feeling among the bad guys, the rogues. Washington is not willing, sorry, I'm going to put it that way, to fight, to put a fight, not in terms of military fight, but political and principles. And now General Omar Bashir of Sudan, who's wanted by the international justice for genocide, is roaming, and we're not saying any word. We are sending our diplomats to Sudan. Now, if you take all of that, the North Koreans are going to say, what? If they don't do anything with those non-nuclear powers, we are about to be a nuclear power, and we can deliver missiles. So we're going to do more testing. And remember, not stretch too long here, that the Iranians are said to have sent delegations to Northern Korea to learn about their missile system. There is sharing between Iran and Northern Korea. So that's why I build the case that what the Koreans are doing now is not very isolated. It is linked to this coordination between Northern Korea and Iran with Syria and Hezbollah all the way to Venezuela. We may get another incident here soon in the Caribbean, or we can get the next incident by the Iranians in the Gulf. They are coordinating worldwide, and this may be one chapter of the game.
Wow. Dr. Phares, at your website, which is www.walidphares.com, I noticed that you gave an interview to the BBC Radio in Arabic.
Just an hour ago, just before you.
Tell us about that, please. Tell us again who you gave an interview in Arabic to BBC Radio.
Well,
Go ahead.
The BBC has a very expanded service in Arabic TV and radio. I do go on BBC often. France 24, airing from France, has also a English, French, and Arabic services, and even Russia TV. So I do a lot of the international TV to get a sense of what the international debate is all about. And actually, my first analysis comes because of their questions, because their newsrooms, and you are in the media, you understand that, are basically interacting with the analysts of the other side. So their first reaction, their first question to me was, what do you expect the Obama administration is going to do in a second step? The first step is, of course, going to make the statement, but will they do something on the ground? And that's the state of debate now on the other side of the planet.
How is this being played out on Al Jazeera network from an editorial standpoint? Are you up to speed on that by chance?
Yes, we have been spotting Al Jazeera and the other L's of the region. In those newsrooms, which usually are, critical of America, if not sympathetic to the jihadists and their struggle against America and their allies in the region, there's always an excitement when a non-Arab, non-Islamic force emerges in the world and challenges the United States. I've seen it when, for example, even on a lower scale, when Russia and the United States, were at odds over some issue, for example, Georgia, right, 2 years ago. I mean, the Cold War narrative was all over the newsrooms, including on Al Jazeera, but also in the other networks as well. There was excitement because the networks who usually come into those newsrooms, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Salafists, the Khomeinis, always wants to create an international problem so that they are on their own while we are confronting the Russians or the North Koreans or, somebody in Latin America, so on and so on. There is an excitement always when we get into trouble with other players.
So, okay, so there's a positive buzz, so to speak. Now,
for them.
Yeah, for them. Now, all right. What do you expect the administration to do next, Dr. Phares, pulling out your crystal ball? That's number one. And number two, what should they do, in your opinion?
Okay, these are two different things, two different mountains.
Sure.
What they would do, as a matter of fact, I may be weaker in my answer from what they should do. Why? Because if this was Iran or Sudan or Syria or the Arab Muslim world or the Mediterranean, that area, I will tell you now, they will back off. They will try to engage. Because we've seen it, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Sudan. So no need for further evidence when it has to do with membership of the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Conference, or the Arab League, or the region. Don't expect a U.S. firm position at this point in time under this administration, at least for now, against those folks. But because this is outside of the Middle East, and because it is extremely dangerous, and because we're talking about an irrational leadership sitting in Northern Korea, on the ground that if we don't do something strong, well, North Korea may change the landscape of the region. I think that within the administration there is now I can anticipate and see a lot of contradictory advice coming to the White House. It's really going to be very difficult. You're going to have the school that says, let's go back to the negotiations, the six-party thing, and so on and so forth, and construct something with the Chinese and the Russians and try to do it that way. And then you're going to have the other camp within this administration. I'm not talking about the new majority of Congress, which is going to tell the president and his advisors, we've got to do something while we are negotiating. We've got to flex muscle. We've got to do war games. So now tonight, when I heard that there will be joint military exercise, I think the tough guys within the bureaucracy have convinced so far the administration that while he is going to try to talk with the Chinese to put some pressure on the North Koreans, he will have to at the same time deploy, in the seas and with the Koreans, the Southern Koreans, to show some signs of strength. So it's going to be very difficult.